Was there something in your youth that you experienced that allowed more for creativity, for you to be experimental about, what you were doing?
I don't know if it was in my youth. I mean, I was born in California, and some of this stuff, even this kind of failure culture that we talk about, a lot of it is even kind of uniquely California-ish. Like I think that's why there are so many successful businesses in California, is that there's kind of this California culture that rewards failure. And it sounds ridiculous to say it, but I swear it's literally true. If you're in Silicon Valley especially, but even Los Angeles, people when introducing themselves to you will often tell you right up within the first minute, you'll say, oh, hey, my name's Mark, what do you do? And he'll say, well, I started a Web 2.0 social networking company that bombed, and then we did a something infrastructure company that bombed. Then we tried to do a kind of something network thing that bombed, and now we're working on a something, another Facebook video thing. So we'll see how that goes. And people are actually proud to tell you of all the things they did that failed, because the cultural feeling there is that you're not. It's like you're nobody until you've failed. If you haven't failed at something yet, you might as well just be like your first day out of school. It's like you don't want to hire somebody that's never failed at anything because they haven't hit any adversity. They haven't learned anything. It's like every time you fail at something, you learn so much that you only want to work with people that have been through that kind of cycle. And so that's why people are proud to tell you of all the things they did that bombed. So for me personally, my parents weren't too psyched that I wanted to be a musician. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they made me take music lessons, same as most of us, had to do. But then when I was about like 12, 13, 14, it was still all I wanted to do was make music. And, the general feeling was, well, of course you have to go to college and get a good job. And I got really rebellious. I was like, no, I'm only going to be a musician. I'm not going to go to college at all. I'm going to be a professional musician. And I was so fiercely rebellious about this that what's interesting looking back at this is that it shaped the way I looked at the world, right? So imagine this. Because I was really, really serious, I wasn't just throwing a fit. I just decided at 14, I'm going to be a musician for life. And what this means is, by deciding you want to be a musician for life, I knew I would never have a job. I would never have insurance. I would never have any security. I would never have a paycheck. I knew that every dollar I was going to earn for the rest of my life would come from my own hard work and my own creation. So that's just been my mindset ever since I was 14. It's a kind of like tough guy, rugged, cool thing to say. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it, and I know it's going to be hard. And that's why I'm constantly reading books and constantly studying and learning as much as I can, and even doing things like setting my alarm at 6 a.m. to go running, because I know that if I'm going to be a professional musician, I need to be in good shape, I need to be healthy, I need to be fit, I need to be focused, I need to be undistracted. I haven't had a TV since I was 18. I never chill out, I just work. That's been my life because I wanted to be a successful musician.
And,
right?
and you think like the fact that you embrace failure so well, did that help you become a successful entrepreneur?
Well, I think the embracing failure, it's almost something I wouldn't have even thought of until coming here. My wife and I just moved to Singapore 4 months ago. So since coming here, lots of people talk about the thing that you were just saying about the lack of risk-taking. The lack of kind of just like creative, hey, let's try this, let's try that feeling here. And I get it. I mean, it's not just Singapore. It's they're having the same problem in India. Everybody's just told, get a good steady job.
Yeah. And
you can understand where that comes from. If you want to get really analytical about it, if you talk with people in Europe, for example, where they don't have this feeling, they talk about how many generations away from poverty are you. So if you're somewhere in Europe where it's last time somebody felt poverty was 8 generations ago, there's this feeling of, hey, just grow up in the German backpackers following your dreams and go wherever you want, man, see the world. Because they don't have parents who just felt poverty in childhood. So I do think it's kind of a generational thing that will slowly change. It's not like you need to blame Asia as a whole for being this way. But there's one last thing I wanted to throw out. So this idea of being a musician, there's a beautiful quote a jazz musician said once. He said, if you can learn music, you can learn anything. And I love that. What's funny is that just last year I was doing an interview with a magazine where they said something like, can you tell us about the moment where you got the courage to quit your day job and focus on your own business? I was like, courage to quit my day job? I was like, I've never even thought in those terms. Last time I had a day job was 1992, and I knew that it was just a short-term temporary thing. I mean, musicians call it a day job because the whole idea is you don't take it very seriously. It's just something you do from 9 to 5 so you can pay your rent, where you can focus on your real thing. At 5 o'clock p.m. is where your life begins, your real work begins. So I think that mindset of approaching life as a musician kind of means to approach life as an entrepreneur. I mean, that's really the spirit of it, right? Like, my income will only come from my own creation. I will never have a paycheck, never have insurance, never have a job at an MNC.